Rabbi Refael Baruch Toledano was known for his incredible knowledge of Torah and enormous fear of God. He was part of the great Toledano dynasty, stemming all the way back prior to the Spanish Inquisition, where his family dwelled in Toledo, Spain, hence the name Toledano. The entire family swore that they would never again see the land of Spain, and that's why their name Toledano stands for Toledo, no more Toledo. Eventually, the family ended up in Morocco, where Rabbi Refael became a dayan, a renowned halachic decisor, leader of the Meknes jury, author of the first Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, a condensed version of the Code of Law for Sephardim, and of course, famed author and poet of the popular song Ashorer Shira, that is sung in honor of the Torah. Yesterday, I heard an out-of-this-world story that took place with him while he was residing in Meknes, about a family who gave birth to a boy, and the Brit Milah was scheduled to take place on a certain day. At the time, the family wished to invite not only their friends, but the two great rabbis of the city, Rabbi Toledano and Rabbi Yitzchak Esebag. It's important to note that Rabbi Esebag, known as the Pachad Yitzchak, was a deeply holy man who spent his entire day studying Torah. He didn't miss 1 minute of learning. Every moment of the day was precious, and therefore it was amazing that he accepted the offer to partake in the mitzvah Brit Milah. But more importantly, it was crucial that the Brit Milah start on time, so that the moment it finishes, he could return to his studies. The Brit was called for 8 a.m. As expected, Rabbi Yitzchak Esebag was there promptly, ready to begin. The problem was that Rabbi Toledano was a bit tardy in arriving, but the family didn't want to start without the great sage. They waited 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Rabbi Esebag was getting anxious. You could see it on his face. After another 5 minutes, and Rabbi Toledano didn't arrive, Rabbi Esebag couldn't wait any longer and said, "That's it. The Brit Milah must begin immediately." So they started chanting the traditional opening piyutim in honor of the baby boy, and literally 2 minutes later, Rabbi Toledano walks in. "What? You started without me? How could you do that?" Not wanting to make a scene, the Avi Ben, the father of the boy, pulled aside the rabbi and said, "Listen, I wanted to wait." But Rabbi Esebag was in a hurry. He wants to get back to his studies, and he demanded that we start. "Still, you should have waited, and because of that, I'm fining you a monetary penalty." "But Rabbi, fork it over. I'm fining you." End of story. So the father reaches into his pocket, puts down some money on the table. "Not enough. Put more." And again, he reaches into his pocket to put more money down on the table. "Not enough. Put more." "But Rabbi, that's all I have." "I don't care. You need to put more money for your knas, for your fine. I'm not letting you continue the Brit Milah until you do." "But I don't have." "Then I guess you have to go home and get more money." So the father of the boy goes home. Everyone can't believe what they're seeing. And he comes back a few minutes later with a whole bunch of cash and places it on the table. Finally, Rabbi Toledano says, "Thank you very much." He takes the money and puts it into his pocket. Fast forward 20 years. This young boy grows up and he decides to travel to France with some of his buddies from Morocco. On this road trip, they rent a car to travel the mountains. They encountered severe weather, and the car goes off the road and begins to roll down the mountain, flipping several times over. By the time ambulance and paramedics arrive, 3 out of the 4 passengers in the vehicle were pronounced dead on the scene. The only survivor, hanging on by a thread, was this boy. They rush him to the ER, and the hospital staff find out where he's from and contact his parents in Morocco. They tell him to come quickly to France because your son only has a few hours to live. He cannot survive in this state. There's just too much damage to his brain. The amount of trauma that he suffered is too much to recover from. The father and mother are in shambles. They're about to go to the airport to hop on a plane, but he pit stops at the home of Rabbi Refael Baruch Toledano, and he breaks down in tears in front of him. "My son, the accident, he's going to die. What am I going to do?" Rabbi Refael calmly puts his hand on his shoulder, looks him in the eye and says, "Nothing is going to happen to your son." "What do you mean? They say he's finished. They say he's got a few hours to live. He's in a coma. He doesn't stand a chance." The rabbi again calmed him down and said, "Do you remember the Brit Milah of your son 20 years ago? Do you remember how you didn't wait for me and I fined you all that money? Well, on that morning, when I arrived to the synagogue, I saw the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death, hanging over your son. Your son was meant to die that day. So I told you to pay up and perform a pidyon hanefesh, a redemption for the soul of your son. You gave me money, but it wasn't enough. You gave me more, but it wasn't enough. I had to make you go home to get me more money because your son is a holy soul, and to redeem his soul, you needed a lot more cash. The moment the Brit Milah was over, I quickly ran and distributed all the money you gave me to the poor of the city, so that the merit of the tzedakah saved your child. Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. And your son survived. So I am positive in the zechut of your tzedakah. Nothing will happen to your son. He will recover from this accident fully and will live a nice long life of yirat shamayim and kedusha, fear of heaven and sanctity. And so it happened. Today is the 18th day of Cheshvan, 5781, the 50th Hilula of Rabbi Refael Baruch Toledano, Zecher Tzadik Libracha. May the merit of the Tzaddik protect all of us. Amen. The Finding Holiness podcast has been brought to you by Eli's Fine Foods. Serving the Greater Toronto area for over 25 years, Eli's has been a staple in the kosher food industry, offering catering and takeout options in locations across the city. For more information, check out their website at elisfinefoods.com. To sponsor an episode or Torah class, email us at findingholiness@gmail.com or support us directly using the link atop the webpage at findingholiness.buzzsprout.com.